Coordinator with the Codington County Community Service. Good morning.
That's a mouthful.
I wrote that big down. So I was right. Then we also have Executive Director Stacy Hendricks with Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Good morning, Green.
Good morning.
Got her in here too. So every week we talk with Codington Connects, and you're a little bit under that umbrella, Angie, with the
Yes.
Codington County Community Services Office.
Correct. Yes.
Phew. Okay. So you guys partner with Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars. It's kind of like a sober transitional housing, like when you come out of incarceration. Would that be kind of right?
Yeah. So one of our grant goals when we got the COSIP grant that we talked about before was to improve or increase access to sober housing in our community. And so with Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars in our community being an amazing support system ever since, even before my past life as court services with treatment courts, they were the obvious choice to start partnering with to help them hopefully grow and sustain the sober housing that they are already doing. So, yeah.
So Stacy, what did you kind of found this, or how did this organization entity come to existence?
Well, Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars was started by a retired businessman who was reading in his Bible one day that you should visit people in jail and encourage them. And so he stopped and started going in, and it was him and a surgeon and a retired school teacher and myself, and just started going in there, and then just quickly realizing the reality of barriers that people faced upon release from incarceration. And so started doing things like housing and providing other services, and we've just kind of grown to be where we are today, but couldn't do it without partnerships in our community like Codington Connects and Codington County Community Services Office, and so many other people, mental health professionals, and other agencies that are involved with Codington Connects in the community. We do not operate alone by any stretch of the imagination. We are team players for sure. So.
Yeah. And so, like, one of the challenges you find is that these individuals are rehabilitated, they're coming out of incarceration, but they have very limited options to maybe get a job or even have a home, or zero funds probably. Is that kind of what you were talking about? And then you're just like, it's almost like, all right, here you go. And then you're just on your own, right?
Absolutely. And I think I was blown away initially by the reality of the lack of resources that they had available to them. I mean, most of them are either forced to return to the same environment that attributed to their addiction, or they're homeless. And so there's really, where do they go? What do they do? I mean, we have a responsibility as a community, I think, not only to hold people accountable, and I understand that part of it, but it's also, how do we improve the lives of people who have this disease, of whether it's substance use disorder or alcoholism, and the effect that has on the brain, and lack of employment. That's a real thing, as well as lack of funds. We know that financial instability leads to relapse quite often, and so for us as an organization, we're very passionate about 100% of the services we provide to people we serve are free to them. So we're not going to ever take anything from them. We're just there to serve and to support. So
yeah. Well, and I think that is something to think about, is the mindset. You come out of there, and maybe you're positive and you're ready to hit the world, hit the ground running, and then you're kind of hit with all that adversity right away. And where do I go? What do I do now? And you really have maybe no credit, and if you have a felony, it's hard to find a job sometimes too, and it takes time. And the time is probably what we have the least of, because with time with no money, least anyways. So what are some of the services, if you will, that you do help out with individuals?
So we have 2 sober houses right now, one for men, one for women. We can have up to 6 men. Through the COSIP grant, we have doubled our capacity from 3 to 6 at the men's house. And then the women's house, we can have up to 5. We have an office location downtown, so social events are a big part of what we do. Addiction is isolating. We want recovery to be a community. We want it to be fun. We want it to be, people to be actively involved in a healthy lifestyle. And so then we provide other services that are essential to whether it's their probation or parole guidelines, right? So we'll provide cell phone support. We'll provide transit support. Transit is a wonderful resource for the people that we serve, teaches a lot of accountability and those types of things. And so that's really important to us. Wellness center passes. We have a great relationship with Prairie Lakes Wellness Center. And so those are things that we are really passionate. There's nothing we won't do, right? So if someone needs food assistance or clothing assistance, we use, all of those food pantries and things like that in town first. Sometimes, people are released from incarceration at 8:30 on a Friday, need some food.
Yeah.
So we'll step in when no other resources are available. So
that was actually a question. Are there certain dates or times that people are released, or can it be like midnight, or how does
It can be any time. During the week, you often, if you're incarcerated, you often get released during court hours. They go to court and have a bond hearing, and either they can, if they get released on a PR bond, which means they don't have to put up any money, or even if they're given a low enough bond, sometimes the bondsmen don't get there to help them or their family members till after hours. So there is no set time. I would say the majority of those that are held get released after court, and so at least that is during the workday. But we have examples where the jail has released somebody who was picked up in probably their pajamas with no shoes or socks, and they tell them to walk down to BSBB to give them some help, and so they show up barefooted and in pajamas, and these guys will get them set up. So
wow. So that's obviously happened then, where you run into those situations, right? And you've got to. So it's one thing to. I can't imagine what your mindset is as that individual. What you've kind of gone through, and sure, I think, whatever you've done to get yourself in that situation, we understand that. But the point is, if there's possible rehabilitation and to make you a productive citizen in the end and so forth, that's kind of the end goal, right? So there's some sort of prevention almost too in the end, because you're preventing that person going back to prison and so forth, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think for us, we don't really focus on what we do or what we say, but we are very, very cognizant of the way that we make people feel. And I think that that's important. We've all had weak points, we've all had hard times, and in those moments, usually God sent someone who lifted our face a little bit and who encouraged us and who made us feel valuable as a human being. And so that's what we do. So whether it's our housing or whatever it is, our role is to invite them into a space where they're going to feel empowered, where they're going to feel like they actually have something to give back to the world around them. We want them to feel passionate about our community, because we want them to be community members who are working and paying taxes here and paying off their debt here and all of those pieces. But they should, in order for them to want to stay here, we have to make them feel like as a community, we're cheering for them and we hear them. And whether it's the Watertown Area Community Foundation, we have such a fantastic community that has supported the people that we serve. And I love telling them about it, because it makes them feel less isolated and less alone. And sometimes they'll say, "Oh gosh, thanks for the opportunity to live in a sober house." And I'm like, "It's not me. It's not me."
Yeah.
We have an entire board of directors. We have an entire community who's funded this support so that you can have this opportunity. And that's really what it is. We give people an opportunity. At the end of the day, we don't really. Data is important, but for us, a lot of people say define success. We define success as, did we give someone at their point of need an opportunity to have the key resources to make the growth that they want to see in their life possible? And that's success to us. We don't have some cookie cutter product, that pops out of our housing. Everyone has unique goals and dreams, and some of them are fighting for their kids back. Some of them are fighting for, a job. Some of them they're all different, and our job is to just say, let's go. Whatever you want to achieve, you absolutely can do that. Let's work hard every day together and make it happen. So
yeah, very good. Well, Angie, you also work with treatment court and that as well, right?
I did it, in my past. Yes, of course.
So does that also work with brothers and sisters behind bars, kind of, or that's kind of separate?
No, so I started in treatment court as a court service officer prior to Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars existence. And I can tell you it was exponentially a different program without them. It came to once they were established and providing the services that they could provide, we would do anything to keep Stacy happy. We know that part of what they do is really looking to house people who are on probation and parole. It helps them maintain a sober house. It helps some accountability for those in the house just to keep their places safe. And so anytime Stacy would call and need something, we'd be like, yes, we can do that for you. Anything you need, because it is, I can think of times before Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars where we had a participant in the program who was just couch surfing at different places where addiction was rampant, use was rampant. Like, thinking back, there's no way we could have expected that person to remain sober in that situation. And so now we have this opportunity to help them at least with the sober housing piece, in addition to all the other things treatment courts provide, which is a lot. But that one, like, where are you going to sleep at night? If you think of the hierarchy of needs, we got to start out with those basic needs. And if you don't know what you're going to eat and where you're going to sleep, you can't really focus on recovery and getting to your appointments and transportation and all these other things going on. So number one is that basic needs piece. And Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars has fulfilled that for so many participants and others in the community, not just treatment participants.
Yeah. And so you have you inevitably, I think some people maybe focus on, worst case scenario sometimes when you hear about these programs, and if you don't understand what an individual goes through in these situations, it's easy to maybe focus on someone that has failed or maybe has even gone through it and didn't make it through and went back to prison. But what do you have a good success rate with these programs that you do have?
Yeah, I would say, a couple points of data that I think are interesting is that last year there was for people who are living in our house, they fill out an assessment before they come, and then when they leave, at a planned discharge, when someone is ready to go, and there's a whole plan around that. Codington County Community Services provides our case management support. So Carrie Framebrink does a great job of walking beside people, helping them, get their identification and work toward permanent housing. Obviously, our sober housing is just a limited, period of time in their life, but we are actively working toward employment and, their own place and things like that. But 28% of people noticed a change in their alcohol use. 55% noticed a change in their drug use in a positive direction, obviously. And I think, it's also really cool that 75% of people that stayed with us had a reduction in arrests, and almost 67% had stable employment at the time of leaving the house. So we are very, very grateful to be able to do the work that we have. We cannot, just another point, we cannot do our work without peer support. So Stacy Hendricks, with no lived experience, has no dog in the fight. Like, I don't know what to say sometimes. But the most powerful piece of what we do are our property managers, one of which for the Women's House has lived on site with our women for 5 years with her family. And she is my personal hero. She's got, over 3,500 days sober, and she's amazing. And them getting to walk through life in close proximity to her voice and her rhythms and those sorts of things is so powerful. In our office now, we have Callie Musso-Ortley, who is a community health worker, but she's also peer support. She graduated treatment court when Angie was the coordinator. And we're just so blessed to have people who have journeyed through it, have found recovery, and are willing to turn around and lift up people around them who are trying to find the same thing. And they're incredibly, every time I hear them talk, I'm like, I cannot believe you survived that. I cannot understand how you did that. But they did. And their voices are very powerful, and there's hundreds, if not thousands of them in our community. And we got to hear them in order to make sure that we know how to help people, because they know how to do it. You just got to listen. So.
Yeah, it's like you focus a lot on what got them to where they're at instead of how much, how strong they were to get through that, in a sense, because I think nobody wants to necessarily go through what they went through, all of those things. I mean, drugs and alcohol, there's parties and stuff, but aside from that, it's the all the negativity that comes along with it in the jail, and I don't think anybody wants that stuff. So I mean, what you guys do is amazing. So did you have any questions over there?
Yeah, she just pretty much answered. I was going to ask if some of the folks that leave the sober house and are successful, if they come back and they want to volunteer and help out. So you said there's like a limited stretch where you're trying to get them employment and their stay would be limited. Have you ever found yourself maybe needing another house? You might be full.
Well, that's a whole conversation. Actually, right now, we were blessed by Cornerstone Church donated a Christmas Eve offering that ended up being about a little over $100,000 for seed money for us to be able to purchase a property eventually, and we're really excited. We're actively kind of seeking that out, whether it is an old rundown house that we can purchase and revitalize. Like, we want to be a part of revitalizing our community, whether it's through lives or through houses or whatever it is. But we just started trusting God for that opportunity, or if we build something or whatnot. But that's going to require a massive community effort because it affects all of us. And you drive to whether it's Sioux Falls and you see these massive facilities. Like, we're not trying to become anything that we're not. We're trying to help local people and do it first. And whatever we do next, I personally just want all of our community members to be able to see whatever it becomes and to say, we did that and we did that together and we're affecting thousands of people's lives. And I think that Watertown is a unique community where we actually care about how people feel. And that's a big deal. But that's going to be a massive project. So stay tuned, because that's actively in the works. But that would be wonderful, so that we could have, a facility where we own and we're not just paying rent all the time.
Right.
So that's a goal. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that was a question I had, because it might have to be disheartening to turn someone away because your house is full.
yeah, it's hard
So,
right now. We do have full houses.
It'd be great if a motel with kitchenettes would donate, and then you'd have on-site like RAs at to keep an eye on people and help them. So then if folks need some counseling and stuff, is that through you, or do they find that through drug court, or how does that work if they're sober living in the house and they're needing some counseling or therapy? I'm assuming they'll have that before they get to the house.
Great
Is that how
question.
that works?
So everyone's process looks different, right? But we know that people need counseling services. They need, whether it's medically assisted treatment services and support, whatever. So we stay in our lane. We're the relationship folks. We walk beside people, but the real action, the treatment, the hardcore stuff, that happens with the treatment court team. That happens at the Human Service Agency and so many of the other mental health professionals throughout our community. I think that when we do our job well, it is making sure people have transportation to get to their treatment. We talk about it in the office, but in our office, when people come in, and certainly people that have graduated, or not graduated, but have left our house, and even people that we've had to evict from our house because they just weren't ready yet to be sober, they still come into the flow of our office because they know that we love them and we'll give them another chance when they are ready. But for us, it is that place where they get to come in and they get to just be them. They don't have to talk about their recovery if they don't want to. They don't have to talk about their latest relapse if they don't want. All of that is happening in professional rooms with counselors and people like that. Our job is to just cheer for them, walk beside them, ask them what they
Make
had for
it
supper.
easier.
Yeah.
Make
Just
it
life on
easy.
life. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good. Oh, all right. Very good. Well, how can we help as a community now? Do you need money, things like that, or volunteers, or
I'm waiting, Steve. I'm waiting. No, I'm just kidding. Well, obviously, this is very helpful. So thank you for letting us come on the radio and talk about this. I think that right now on our Facebook page, Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars, we do have an active. It's just we're doing a little play on April showers, bringing May flowers, kind of a thing. And we have hygiene products that we purchase for our residents when they come to us with nothing, right? So whether that's feminine hygiene or toothbrushes or whatever it is, just to get them started. We don't fund that the entire time they live with us, but just to get them started. And right now we're trying to acquire some items for that. It's just Amazon link. You don't have to purchase on Amazon. You can purchase locally with big local people and just bring it into the office. But you'll see that on our Facebook page. And then on our website, we do have a way that people can donate. Otherwise, we have people just walk into our office and believe in the work they do. They want to see it tangibly before they invest in it, and we love that. So they'll come in and chat and, oftentimes give a financial donation. So, but yeah, they can give us a call, 605-753-9395. If they have any questions or want any, if they want to take tours of our houses, whatever, like we're an open book, whatever you want to know, we'll let you know. So
awesome. Anything from you that we should touch on from
No.
the Codington County Community Services Office?
No, I don't think so. I think Stacy nailed it.
Yeah, you did really good too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And so, but also we should maybe just touch on for those that aren't familiar, technically your office is what some consider the old welfare
Used to be the
office.
welfare office, yes, and
Yeah.
it was renamed the Codington County Community Services because we do so much more than that.
Mhm.
We have our case management with Impact. You can Paige and Sarah have talked about that a lot. And then just our community health workers, Paige and Carrie, are amazing. They work a lot with Stacy and her people that come in. Again, they send them down from the jail, probation, parole, human service agency, medical providers, all make referrals to that program for people who are struggling in some way. And Paige and Carrie will work with them to really help them find the resources they need, whether, again, it's transit, counseling, medical care, getting IDs and things like that so you can get your driver's license, all those kinds of things. So they really work hard to really fill the gaps of what someone might need to get going in their life.
Very good. So we can just find you on the World Wide Web, or maybe just
Yes.
stop in, or even
Yeah.
call you on one of those landlines.
Yeah, we're at 7 West Camp. Stacy is at 9 West Camp, right?
yes,
Oh.
yes, our offices are interconnected. So if you
Yeah.
really want to be entertained, stop down and you get 2 offices
For the
Oh.
price
for the
of
price
one.
of one. Although we pay twice. So I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
do pay twice. That's a
Oh.
bummer.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we could just come in and just get you both then.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate that and really appreciate everything that you guys do for the community. Those individuals definitely need a hand up, and I think the more we understand and learn about all those individuals, the more we can help prevent it and get them back out into the community to be productive. So,
Thanks for having us again.
Thank you.
yeah, you bet. All right.